Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
Yeah, you're listening to the House of Cards on the Big Patriot Radio Network. And good evening, everybody. Once again, from Big Patriot Radio Network, it is the Beaufort County House of Cards Thursday evening. Welcome to everybody out there in radio land and internet land, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you are, or even if you're listening to this later on a tape delay basis, we're glad to have you. Glad to have you with us. What a great show. I am fired up, beyond fired up. A lot of stuff going to go on tonight. Whatever form you're watching us on, be sure to click like, click subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you do. Ask your 5-year-old or your 10-year-old, what do you do on these things? And they'll be able to tell you. But whatever it is, been elevated to whatever realm that is, we're now considered star eligible from the people at Facebook, and I guess that's YouTube. Anyway, that's like a precursor to becoming monetized. I guess that means you're like legitimate, I guess. So this all of that, if you could do that, great, we appreciate it. But you don't have to. Anyway, but doing that helps keep independent journalism and independent news, and really that's what we are, helps keep us alive. So once again, welcome. Coming in with the number one hit last week on Big Patriot Radio was the Redneck Song by Hardy. And the number one listening city was a tie last week, Beaufort, South Carolina, and Somerville. So congratulations there. And again, Big Patriot Radio. How do I get to it? Well, all you got to do is go to your internet and type in bigpatriotradio.com, just like it says. And we're 24 hours a day in blues, news, country pop, and classic rock. 3 genres of music with news top of the hour every hour from 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. We've got podcasts 4 or 5 nights a week. Monday night is New America Movement. They're at 7 and an encore show at 9 o'clock. Tuesday nights is Corey Allen and the Overton Report at 7 o'clock p.m. and then at 8 p.m. encore. Thursday nights is usually a repeat or replay of the previous week of House of Cards. Sundays, we have a twofer. Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. is Andrew Southwick and Culture Crossroads. And then again at 8 o'clock is the Freedom Hour with our man, Frank Friedenauer. So that is during the weekend. Hey, if you have a podcast, and we understand that a lot of podcasters listen to this, this show, that it's growing like unbelievable. Every month it's like new numbers. It's crazy. If you have a podcast and you need somewhere to put it on, and hey, give us a call. We'll help you get started. Hope you take off like a rocket. Just a quick second before we get started, I wanted to welcome listening to the show for the very first time. Let's see if we have, here are some people giving her a round of applause. There you go. We would like to welcome Carol Millars of Sun City, right here in Okeechobee, listening to Beaufort County's House of Cards here on the Big Patriot Radio Network.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
And before we get started too deep, let's go ahead. Hopefully it's not too liberal, or I might have to end up getting rid of them. But it's time for your 5 o'clock news.
This is VOA News. I'm Scott Walterman. North Korea on Friday announced it had built a tactical nuclear attack submarine as part of its effort to strengthen its naval force, according to the state news agency. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un presided over the unveiling ceremony on Wednesday, saying the new sub was part of a push forward with the nuclear weaponization of the Navy in the future. Foreign ministers from Nordic and Baltic countries gathered in the Latvian capital Thursday to discuss cooperation and support for Ukraine. More from VOA's Jeff Custer.
Foreign ministers from Sweden, Norway, Finland, Latvia, and Lithuania took part in the gathering. At a news conference following their meeting, they said Ukraine's eventual membership in NATO was discussed, while each nation said they've pledged more than $1 billion in aid per year. Norway said it is among the nations donating F-16 advanced fighter jets to Ukraine, and Sweden's foreign minister, Tobias Billström, said they've already started training Ukrainian pilots to fly the jets.
Well, I'm very pleased that training of fighter pilots is now underway. Evaluation needs to be done, of course, from both sides after the completed training, and Sweden is also part of the F-16 coalition in defense of Ukrainian airspace.
Jeff Custer, VOA News.
In London, a former soldier awaiting trial on terror charges appears to have escaped from prison by strapping himself to the underside of a food delivery truck. He remains at large, and police are combing the UK looking for him. Here is the head of the Metropolitan Police Counter-Terrorism Unit, Dominic Murphy.
There's 150 detectives and staff from Counter-Terrorism Command here in London, but many, many more from around the country and Border Force.
The 21-year-old is accused of planting fake bombs at a military base and spying. This is VOA News. A federal judge in Boston has sentenced a wealthy Russian businessman with ties to the Kremlin to 9 years in prison for his role in a nearly $100 million insider trading scheme. The scheme involved stealing earnings-related filings for hundreds of companies, including Microsoft and Tesla, by hacking into U.S. computer networks, then buying stocks based on the info. The Pentagon is pushing back against Russian criticism about uranium-based ammunition to Ukraine. More on this story from Associated Press Pentagon reporter Sagar Magani.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov calls the decision very bad news, claiming U.S. use of the depleted uranium ammunition elsewhere led to a big rise in cancers and other illnesses. At the Pentagon,
the CDC has stated that there is no evidence that the depleted uranium rounds cause cancer.
Spokeswoman Sabrina Singh says militaries around the world use the extremely dense ammo, which the U.S. developed during the Cold War to destroy Soviet tanks.
Penetrates the conventional armor better than regular munitions.
But Austrian weapons expert Ilyana Sokova says the new rounds still won't be a game changer.
To me, it's just another piece of metal in the arsenal.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
The International Monetary Fund and World Bank on Thursday issued a rare joint statement pledging to step up their cooperation to address climate change, debt vulnerabilities, and countries' digital transitions. Released ahead of the G20 summit, where U.S. President Joe Biden intends to focus heavily on reforming the World Bank and other multilateral development lenders to scale up their lending for climate and infrastructure. Biden is bringing an ambitious message to the G20. His offer for the Global South is this: whatever happens to China's economy, the United States can help fund your development. More from Reuters' Jillian Kutchner.
Biden is hoping to persuade fast-growing economies in Africa, Latin America, and Asia that there is an alternative to China's massive infrastructure plan called the Belt and Road Project, which has funneled billions of dollars to developing countries, but left many deeply in debt. Part of that pitch involves reforming the World Bank and boosting its funding under President Ajay Banga for infrastructure in the developing world. Washington thinks a rebooted World Bank could meet the Global South's needs and serve its own interests.
Reuters reporter Jillian Kitchener. I'm Scott Walterman, VOA News.
Your rock authority. Big Patriot Radio.
I wouldn't tell anybody about this.
All right. Well, actually, I would. If I was you tonight, you want to call your neighbor and say, man, you got to watch this guy because he's coming. He's going to go off. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go off on a couple of things. Hopefully we can get it all in tonight. So lots to unpack tonight, but let's get started with something. And somebody put out a little note there. Love to hear from you. Chat away. Love to hear from you. We do want your opinions, good, bad, or otherwise. Not like some people who, don't want to talk to anybody. We love your opinions. Let us know what it is. Anyway. Something that could end up being one of the biggest, if not the biggest, political and governmental scandal in South Carolina history. That is the Eric Greenway / Whitney Richland / Blanket Gate / Greenway Gate / financial procurement, criminal gate, all that. This. If you're not up to speed, real quick, Eric Greenway was hired to the county back in 2019, 2020, something like that, as a land planner, the head of the planning department with the retiring Tony Crisatello. I knew he had a background that was somewhat conspicuous, but we didn't hire him, we being county council. He was hired by the county administrator. That's, the land planner doesn't work for county council. Anyway, once Ashley Jacobs had gone through her ordeal being shit canned from her job because of several council people, and we'll talk about that later, eventually Greenway was promoted to interim administrator and then right on into administrator. So there's been problems ever since. There's been speculation of alleged financial malfeasance, all kind of stuff. fast forward to January, he created a job for the, it's a contract job for opioid wellness using federal monies that were part of federal opioid judgments in court. Anyway, created this this contract opening, had met someone by the name of Lisa Lynch. He was Joe's coffee boy. Hey, brother, what's up? Yes, he was. He's still, I think he still might be. We'll talk about that too. Anyway, met this gal, Lisa Lynch, met her at a party, had mutual friends. He got real chummy. Her offered this thing, hey, you and your sister-in-law should create a company. You're in the wellness business and blah, blah, blah. 30 days before the contract was written, they hadn't been a company. And he creates a position, this contract position for this company, Elemental. And they're a contractor for the county. Didn't go out for procurement, by the way. And it's ran by this gal, Lisa Lynch, and her sister-in-law, Angie something or another. Less than 30 days later, you know, they went out a couple times, some things like that. We'll go into that. Anyway, he says, hey, why don't you come to work for me? But I can't do that. You know, I work as a I'll make it all good. It'll be good. Anyway, he creates a position, tells her, I've created this position for you as the director, the wellness director. Anyway, long story, she gets the job, obviously, goes to work. He wanted more. She didn't want that, supposedly. And we'll go into this step by step, but in a nutshell, he gets his tater peelings hurt, goes off on her and everyone else. She doesn't know what to do. Whitney Richland, the deputy administrator, steps in after she files a complaint, harasses her allegedly, just nails her to the wall allegedly, and then fires her. Greenway eventually gets fired with cause, terminated with cause. That's where we are today with that. Whitney Richland was hired also back when I was on county council in the finance department. She took over. Alicia Holland was the CFO, who had a near breakdown, in my opinion, and she's one of two people that filed lawsuits against the former auditor, Jim Becker. Treasurer Maria Walls is the other one. Anyway, Whitney Richland, who came from Georgia, like Statesboro or something, took that job and quickly moved up through the ranks and became deputy county administrator. Her involvement in this is that her husband and in-laws own a company called like Home to Home or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, they sell these blankets. They make these blankets and they're weighted. Supposedly in opioid addiction recovery, these blankets are maybe something good for those folks to use. Anyway, she needs to sell some, and Eric Greenway buys some. $36,000 freaking dollars worth. That's like 600, 700 blankets. No procurement, no policy following, no out for bid. Tells this gal Lynch, according to her, that Eric said, you need to do this to help Whitney. Anyway, Whitney Richland obviously is in the middle of all this alleged. I don't know if she's got any criminal things. It's allegations. It's all alleged. I don't know, but I know she's gone. She cleaned out her office, and some insiders told me, I've got many in there, that she was told you can leave or get fired. She left. All right. So let's go back a little bit. Lisa Lynch, she and her sister-in-law were hired after forming a company, Elemental, and then offered a full-time job. You with me so far? Greenway met her at the behest of one of their mutual friends. According to Lynch, she she hangs out with other single adults and married adults. This one particular friend of theirs has cancer, and all the girls hang out over there. Where one day, during their little hangout, you know, wine or coffee or whatever, well, Greenway shows up. Obviously, there was a setup. Obviously, well, one of those guys that Greenway's buddies with is part of the golf foursome that they tried to trap Elvio Tropiano in of Pine Island. So anyway, all this shit is connected. It's all tied together, and now we are seeing how it all works. So he asked her out to dinner. Yeah, sure, I'll go to dinner. Well, Greenway goes from zero to matrimony in a matter of seconds, so to speak, according to Lynch. She turned him down. According to her, she turned him down for anything and everything. He shows up at her house during the workday. She gets rid of him, according to her. There's a party at this group of friends. She tells him, according to her, that she's bringing a date. He says, yeah, I know. He gets there and loses his marbles. People are staring at him like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You're acting like an asshole. It just goes, and he loses it. And that's really what led to this whole thing coming open. So anyway, recently, we finally got the nuts and the bolts screwed down tight, as it were, or the pins put in the board in the final places, because Lisa Lynch went on to do a public story with Fitz News recently, and editor Will Folks. Truly a damning story from her. Will Folks, who I know he does a great job. He did an excellent job in the interview. If you can, watch it. If you subscribe to that. If you don't, and I can get permission from him, I'll replay it here on this network. In the interview, and that's what I want to talk about, Lisa Lynch describes Greenway as, quote, controlling, very controlling. Now, I want you to sit back. Those of you that have been watching this for months and months, and we've been talking about this, start putting this together in your mind and get in the mind, maybe not of Eric Greenway, but an employee under Eric Greenway, and see how these pieces of the chess puzzle, if you will, the chess, the story in front of you start moving around. When asked if he was moving from zero to marriage, she said, absolutely yes. Quote, very much. Quote, Eric would have planned my whole life out from there, and I had to push back. I wasn't okay with that, said Lisa Lynch. Lynch's explanation of the timeline of events portray Greenway, to be quite honest with you, as some could consider stalkish, stalk-worthy. Allegedly, he created the avenue for her and her sister, or sister-in-law, I guess it is, to be a county contractor. Again, it was in the opioid and wellness program. And one thing in the interview, if you get to see that, now Lynch did not mention that it was only a month old. In other words, it was only incorporated after a month before they got all of a sudden this huge contract, which that's shady to begin with. And we brought that to you here. My question, who approved the contractor? Well, we know who approved, Eric Greenway. Who else approved in the procurement office? Dave Thomas, purchasing director. Did you approve this? It's against county policy, by the way. Did county council approve of this? It would have been against procurement policy, by the way. Did Greenway do this on his own? Did procurement look at it at all? Did finance look at it at all? Did they discuss financial impacts and a feasibility study on this? Were they advised or guided to handle this? Those questions need to be answered. Lynch also said that once the Elemental was, that business was the contractor, that's when, in like 2 weeks after that, Greenway began to push her, allegedly, to come to work to the county as an FTE, full-time employee. Greenway allegedly invited her to come talk to him, which she admittedly said she did. This statement by her corroborates the accusation that he, in fact, created the job and the position for Lisa Lynch. She says he made 100% 100% of the accommodations she asked for, so she took the job. What were those accommodations? Just like if me or you went to a job interview and, well, I need to have off on Thursdays because I go and I get my beard trimmed, and those kind. I need a new computer. I need a laptop at the house or whatever. Accommodations. He agreed to 100% of the accommodations, she says. Now, those accommodations we know was I have to work from home, computer, and it's particular time off. That we know of. I'm sure there was more. Problem is working as a FTE or full-time employee for the county, and then also being a contractor for the county, not mentioning it's in the same friggin' department. It's completely against every fiber of procurement and transparency policy that even a jackass would come up with. Even the shittiest of scumbags would come up with better policy than this. Not in Beaufort County, you boys. So again, this corroborates some of the story where procurement gets questioned by the department and of Greenway. Now look, honestly, some questionability of her thought process during all this does have to come into play. It's come into play with me many times. Will Folks did not ask her. I would have liked to have seen that, but I get it. Maybe we'll get the opportunity. She is a professional. She's got the credibility. She's got the education. She's got the background. She knows her shit. She should have known. You shouldn't have to tell someone in that position that what you're doing, is full of nepotism. It's full of just wrong. It's in the manual. It's in the policy. It's wrong. You don't do that. At this point, Lynch says she made it crystal clear to Greenway, crystal clear, her words, that now since she is employed, and as I call it, she's employed twice by the county. What a freaking gold deal that is. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. And all while he's doing it, allegedly, to either get in her pants or get her to marry him. Figure it out, Eric. What is it? Anyway, she made it crystal clear, she says, that no way were they going to be able to continue to date. It's over. If I come to work for you, we can't date. She explained in the interview that allegedly Greenway says, I knew you were going to come talk to me about this. I can fix it. I can fix it. The big fixer. Who's the big fixer, by the way? Anyway, the big fixer says, I can take care of it. She says, again, we're not going to be dating. I'll take care of it, she says, Greenway told him, or her. She says he was fully okay then because she had to report to someone else. She told him, we're not dating. I'm okay with that, he says, according to her. As a matter of fact, when she told him that, and this would have been the end of April-ish, she told him again, allegedly, hey, Bobby, Eric, boy, we ain't dating. He says, no problem. It's all good. By the way, I'm dating somebody else anyway. 2 weeks later is May 6th. What happened on May 6th? In the evening, there was a party. We know this party was in Habersham, where, let me just tell you, if you go to look at all this stuff and you see notes and crap that I've got around, Habersham is at the center of so much of this controversy. It's not only surrounding Greenway and Lynch and this problem, but a lot of shit with the county has the common denominator of Habersham. Anyway, where we know the county attorney and his husband owned a townhome at one time. One of the biggest landowners, property owners in the county. Anyway, let me go back to this story. So let's back up a second. Lynch says she notified Greenway the day of this party. I'm bringing a date. Lynch says that he got a little hot under the collar, had a super long argument with her on the phone or text. I think it was text. And she ended the text of the call or whatever. She went to the party with her date, and she showed up first. Lynch tells the story, though, that once Greenway gets there, and he comes, an undetermined amount of time after her, sees her and pool boy, whoever that is, he became hostile, was her word. Slamming things, she said. Very red in the face, she said. In front of his friends and her friends and their friends, all this happened. Lynch alleges that while still at the party, Greenway approached her sister-in-law first. This is the partner of Elemental, okay, and says, you need to get your calendar out. We need to talk about your contract. The sister says, I don't have my work phone with me. I don't have my calendar. I'm sorry. Eric Greenway allegedly goes to Lisa Lynch, says the same thing. You need to get your calendar out. We need to talk about your contract now. She allegedly says, Eric, what the hell is your problem? I don't have that here. She went on to say that, and again, this corroborates what we told you here previously, that later that evening, after they're gone, he storms out, throws shit, she said, and storms out of this Habersham party, making a total ass out of himself. She received a nasty, and we've put them on the screen here before, nasty set of text messages from Greenway. Threatening. There's no doubt about it. Will Folks agreed with me. They're threatening. There's no other way to take it. And not only did he threaten her, he threatened her sister, and he threatened anybody else that was involved in any of this. When he did that, it began to crumble people around him. So later on, she did provide some backup that I wasn't aware of before the party, because that ended a lot of things. But before the party, when she accepted the job, had the accommodations given to her by Greenway, supposedly, allegedly, Greenway said, no problem, no date, no problem, all good. She said multiple times he showed up at her home unannounced, middle of the day. Mike, if that's true, Eric, I mean, what was that for? Was that for an afternooner? Why? I would not show up at my employee's house, especially a female, in the middle of the day when she's alone. That's not smart. I mean, I don't know. Some would say it's a weirdo. I don't know if it's weird. It's completely inappropriate. Now, Lynch says that she said, allegedly, she says she told him that was not appropriate. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe she didn't. Maybe there was a nooner. I don't know. She claims there wasn't, and she told him, you got to go, multiple times. She provided background data and an example that one day she had to bring her laptop into the county building. There are IT people that, are inside the county building that take care of all this stuff. You got to bring your computer to them if it's a hardware deal. So she brings the computer, and it's not uncommon for people to, if you don't have an office in the county building, to congregate in the executive council conference room. That's just that's where a lot of this stuff happens. So she and the IT guy are in the executive conference room, which is in the middle of council chambers and the clerk's office. I mean, it's not like it's, downstairs in the boiler room. They're working on he's working on a computer, And she says, according to her, that Greenway walked in to the executive conference room. I think her exact words was, he stormed in and said, quote, "The two of you need to be doing this in my office conference table," end quote. In her words, this was so he could watch and listen to everything going on. Again, this is her story, but if true, what a flipping weirdo. I mean, are you that so controlling? Remember, she said he was. She said that many times, that he's a control freak. That also corroborates a lot of things that have been floating out here we've been talking about for months. But is he that desperate, that controlling, that he has to have his thumb on her while she's in the building, in his conference room, inside his office? Makes sense if he's got to go to the house to check on her in the middle of the day. Lynch went on to say that she thought he would backtrack when all this went on and apologize. He could have said, you know what, this was completely out of character. Some argument has been made. Thanks, Kate. How you doing? I agree. Some argument has been made that if he'd have done that, and from what I hear in her voice and watching her body language, I don't think we would have gotten to this point. I think it would have ended and gone on in whatever aspect. But needless to say, he didn't say it was out of character, and here we are. So she gave him the benefit of the doubt, she said. She said, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he proved her wrong. She thought he would apologize. She thought he would apologize the morning after that hellacious event in Habersham, the party. But she said the next morning there was no call, there was no text message, there was no kiss my ass, see you later. It was a round of text between him and his buddies to go play golf. Was that the foursome that has been so widely talked about, when we know 3 of the 4 are part of the Habersham figure in this? Anyway, Lisa Lynch went on to say and allege that on or about May 9th or so, she realized she needed representation. Duh. She hired an attorney. Tim Lewis is his name. The attorney reached out to the county about a, quote, concern or problem we have here. So they went through their motions. The county put her under the direction of Whitney Richland, deputy administrator. Lynch made a rather interesting remark when she said that being put under Whitney Richland was the worst thing that happened to her in her life. Lynch went on to file formal complaints, and those went to, she called him out, Council Chair Joe Passiment and Human Resources. She called out Joe Passiment, County Council Chairman. She calls him a staunch defender of Greenway. Go look at the record for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Just Google it. Eric Greenway has always been supported by Chairman Passiment and Vice Chair McKellen publicly. I don't know what they do behind the doors, and I don't give a shit, because behind the doors is where I went off on them during my term. Anyhow, she claims no action was taken against Greenway. The only action was taken by Whitney Richland when she was sent over to be watched by her, report to her. And allegedly, Whitney Richland from day one tried to drive her out. Now, when you go back and you look at the Passiment thing with this, Chairman Passiment, he has always been a supporter of Greenway. At every single step of the road, he has been a supporter. Even after saying, you're fired with cause, he still supports Greenway. I mean, if you don't say it otherwise, we can only go by what you said last. Agree? Agree? He stuck up for him, has stuck up for him. Now he's been fired with cause. What is it, Joe? Are you still sticking up for him? More on that. Allegedly, Lisa Lynch says she did not know where the criminal things were going on. You know, this went from sexual harassment, which is criminal enough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting that. To criminal investigations on a different level, a different nature, rather. She says that she was made aware of all this by the sheriff's department and her attorney. Lynch alleges that the sheriff's department asked her, and this is with her attorney, if she would allow them to read her complaint. I'm assuming that is the HR complaint, which would only make sense. Will you let us read that complaint? Of course, she says you can read it. That right there triggered the criminal investigation. So what did Lisa Lynch have anything to do with finance? Well, at the top of the list, you guessed it, the blanket gate with Whitney Richland, the procurement policy with her own company. All of this is starting to corroborate itself to the same denominator. The sheriff's department asked her if she would, according to her, she alleges that the sheriff's department wanted her to cooperate with them in their criminal investigation of, and I quote, individuals within the county. She says, I told, end quote. She says, I told them, absolutely, of course I would tell you the truth and cooperate. She did say that at first she didn't know if she wanted to be involved in this. There's a point apart. I understand putting your name out there. Anybody doing legal work with the county of Beaufort for history, it's a nightmare. They drag you through the mud. So I understand. She goes on to explain why she did it, and maybe we'll get to that. But this whole thing took a huge, wide turn at this point. Why? Because who are all the individuals in this? Who are they? Greenway, Richland, Dave Thomas with procurement, the county attorney, the county council chair or vice chair. I mean, should we keep going? So it is now where Whitney Richland, allegedly ramped it up and up to drive her out, allegedly, because she wouldn't quit. And Lynch says she did not quit. Whitney Richland outright fired her. So why did they, and they as county council, end up firing Greenway? They terminated him. That's a firing with cause. In other words, there was malfeasance, misfeasance, something, cause of action. Joe Passiment has never come out and made a statement about that. He has come out and said, when the time is right, we will let you know. When the time is right, and now is not the right time, we will discuss our actions. Bullshit. He knows that if he drags you along long enough, you'll forget about it. And hopefully people like me or Corey Allen or Red Voice Media or Shannon Grady or any people like this, Don Pierce, that have these outlets, we'll just forget about it and we'll just move on. That's the same thing the people who are supporting transgender phobia, whatever the shit in the county schools and the books, that's what they thought. But we're not going anywhere. Lisa Lynch, give her credit, she ain't going anywhere. And matter of fact, she made it very bluntly obvious, I'm here and I ain't going anywhere. Lynch's own words, Here's what she said. Quote, and it was the question of why. Her own words, quote, there is no transparency there, none. There is no transparency there, none. Wow, what a statement. What a statement. I don't know that all the county council watches this. I know a lot do, and I'm speaking directly to you right now, my colleagues that are on county council. That statement alone, quote, there is no transparency there, none. That should shake you to your core, because you 11 are the representatives of the people to the government, not the representatives of the government to the people. That alone should shake you to the core, and you should demand it to stop, and stop right now. Now, this channel has received some information, not from county council members, but inside the county. Again, I've got a lot of friends and colleagues and relationships inside that county that I still talk with, that believe in me, and they trust what I did then and do now. And I talk to them. Internal people inside the county or the private clubs, Julianne, and you are so right. You are so right. They have given me, these internal folks within the county, they have given me some information about some of this. Lynch has also made it public, in a public statement rather, and I quote, the systemic, pervasive mistreatment of women by this county has to stop now. Whoa. Whoa. Second quote, my friends on county council, you need to write this down, record this. Quote, the systemic, pervasive mistreatment of women by this county has to stop now. As I said, full stop. Full stop. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't let this continue. It's tough. It is tough to sit up there behind that dais and you know what's going on, and to stick that neck way out there and to say, Mr. Chairman, we will not stand for this anymore. That's tough. That's tough. I know it's tough because I did it. I took the heat. You talked about executive session out of here. You violate. I didn't violate shit. There is no law that says that. It's a policy under county council. But what you were doing to those, you being those who were doing this, was illegal. I couldn't sleep with myself. Nobody on that dais right now that has heard the sentence, the systemic, pervasive mistreatment of women by this county has to stop now. If you hear those words and you do nothing, you are as guilty as those behind the engine of this horrible machine known as Beaufort County Government. Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
You remember the lawsuits by former what was she? CFO. Yes, CFO. Alicia Holland and current long-term county treasurer Maria Walls. Lawsuits by the two of them against the former auditor, Jim Beckert, and the county. Hold that thought a second. Don't get that out. You may have forgot about it. Hold that thought and put it over here on this side while we go to talk about this side. All right? Work with me. So Lynch alleges that she is not the only person, and she has said this as of late. This is not old news. This is pretty new. She came out and said, she's alleging that she's not the only person that has had this happen to. She says in this interview that there are 2 other women with lawsuits against the county. I can only surmise that is Walls and Holland. Okay. She then says there are other women who will not come out and speak out about it for fear of reprisal, for fear of getting their job taken away, for fear of the horrific venom that is Beaufort County. I understand. She said there is one. She didn't name her by name. She said there is one county employee who is a single mother who cannot afford to come forward. I don't know if she's got, she's a mother. She's got kids. Maybe, on a regular job, she couldn't do the daycare. The county was trying to screw the citizens with daycare by providing it, and that's a whole other story. We don't know the situation with this gal, but she says, I can't come forward. Well, Lynch allegedly has stated, she did state, but she says allegedly her story, this girl, is so horrific, which I guess if, regular sexual harassment, regular, petting is not as bad as this. They're all friggin' bad. It's horrible. Anyway, Lynch said, watch it for yourself. This story is so bad, I cannot stand by and not tell it. Now, what she didn't say was, where was she going with that? I think that's an important thing, and Will didn't pick up on it. Folks didn't pick up on it, but she said, it's so horrible. It is so horrible, I cannot stand by and not tell it. Let's hear about that. I want to hear what it is. What it is. This thing that is so horrible, even though, this is the same umbrella, if you will. Again, I'm going to go back to the thing that I said when I went public with how Passiment and McKellen and Rodman and Somerville were as crooked as 5 backward snakes, and how they utterly took a dump on Administrator Ashley Jacobs. Same full thing. The same. They didn't sexually harass her. They did everything else, and it was so bad, you can't not come out with it. So let's move forward. And as I was beginning to allude to earlier, Lisa Lynch, this woman, Lisa Lynch, who I don't know. I have never met her, never talked to her. I can tell you one thing. She's pissed off. In 55 or whatever years, I think I know a pissed off person. She's pissed off, and she is scorned. There's old sayings about, a woman being scorned. And I'm telling you, she's scorned. Greenway, allegedly, Greenway, you treated her like shit. Richland, you allegedly treated her like shit. And Passiment, allegedly, you've been treating her like shit. Well, she is old enough to know how to navigate these waters, ladies, boys and girls. She's old enough to know how to navigate those waters. And I'm telling you, she is not going to stop until justice is served. I'm telling you. I put that in a note and put it off to the side. Put it on the calendar. Mike said it first. I'm telling you, she is not going to stop till she has balls and all on her mantle. That's how pissed off she is. And I applaud her. I applaud her 110%. Because if this stuff that is right now allegedly, nobody's been convicted of anything. If this is allegedly, this stuff that's allegedly happening is true, there is no place for that shit. And it has got to be rooted out. I applaud her, and I say that publicly. I applaud you, Lisa. If these alleged things are true, I have no reason to doubt you, but nobody's been convicted, so I'm not castigating anybody. But if they're true, I applaud you. So here we are. 4 days. We got 4 days until Eric Greenway stands before a special council meeting at his legal request. And apparently, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but apparently it's his legal right. And I don't know if that's because he was fired or if he was a bureaucrat. I don't know where this came from. But anyway, his lawyers and Passiment, of course, and the county attorney, they all agree that he can do this. He can have as much time as he wants to plead his case. So, tell his side of the story. We have been obviously reporting on this as it happens. It was supposed to happen, a week ago or something? And again, I have been way more than fair of not accusing anyone, as these are only allegations until proven otherwise by a court of law. My question before Monday, and it's Monday at 11 a.m. When everybody's at work, they're going to have a special council meeting. Anyway, my question, why is Eric Greenway going to possibly, more than likely, perjure himself really from the minute he walks up to the podium, test, and tests the microphone? What in the hell are his attorneys thinking? I mean, again, I'm no lawyer, but his attorneys, I would think, are going absolutely batshit crazy. I've been thinking about it. I know why it got delayed until Monday. I've formed an opinion, and there's actually 2 point, counterpoint, cause and react, whatever. And I want to share that with you. First, Greenway might not show up. He may say, take that. Because the 11th is the last day he accumulates a paycheck from the county because of this special hearing. You know, it's supposed to be like the 28th or something like that. I don't know. And it got pushed off till 9/11, which, by the way, is, I think that's poor taste. You know, yeah, it's been 22 years, but that's poor taste. You know what I'm saying? I just think that was poor. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, just don't show up and take it through to the courts. That's always possible. Probably for him, that's probably the best thing. Get a paycheck up until the end and don't say a word. Let the courts handle it and take your, take it like a man. Or, Greenway steps up there, and because the minute he opens his mouth, he could perjure himself and cause more damage. Maybe he steps up there and says, if I'm going down, I'm going to take these other folks with me. And I want to tell you about it. And he doesn't get 3 minutes. It's an open invitation for him to speak. So that right there is growing more impossibility. For him to say, I'm going down. Let's talk about the procurement. Let's talk about why I had to get those blankets. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about why the Parks and Rec Department spent $800,000 without going through procurement. Blah, 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 blah. I could see him doing it. I know him. I could see that possibly being a thing. I don't know. So let's take a look why. There are multiple financial investigations to be done. If Greenway had help on some of this, and he would have had to. The county administrator doesn't cut the checks. They don't do the procurement. I mean, there are departments for all that, okay? He's not as smart as some of his predecessors. You know, Gary Kubik was very intelligent, who could have done the whole thing himself, quite frankly. Eric Greenway is not that smart. So there are multiple financial investigations, and if he had help, why not bring those folks down around me? Why not? You got nothing to lose. You know, if you're going to get accused and sent down the river for all this, well, let's get it all out there. That's what a narcissist does, okay? And I think we have formed this. I think you can see how narcissists act vis-a-vis the Habersham incidents, the Fripp Island incidents. I'm talking, you know, is it in the legal department? Is it in these other people? Is it in the legal department? Are they a part of this? Was he getting legal advice that was not proper and within the state code, the county ordinance, or policy? Is it in the procurement department? Was a department director advising him on these things, or vice versa? Is it in the public works or engineering department? Who all was involved? Recently, a county employee the county fired a long-term employee. This gentleman's name is Artrell Horn. I was there when they hired Artrell, and he moved up quickly in the ranks and became, I believe, his final job was code enforcement officer. I mean, he was a badge-carrying officer with public works and convenience centers, solid waste. Okay. Stellar employee, stellar record, won awards, won certificates. I created this statewide, or I helped create this statewide county cleanup day across the state. Artrell Horn is the one who deserves the credit for that because he made it happen. That was my creation, along with Dave Wilhelm. Artrell Horn made it happen. Fired. Why? Now, we don't know that yet. He was a county employee, and so it's, you know, they typically don't let that out. But did he know something that would be damaging to Greenway or his alleged accomplices? We have reached out to Horn for a statement. We do have a post from him when he got fired. It was a lengthy letter about getting fired, and there are a lot of subtle comments in that letter that made me think of him as I was putting the nuts and bolts together on this Greenway, Lynch, Richland deal. And what other female employees at the county have been targeted by this administration or any of the previous? Who? What? Where? When? They're there. We know they're there. We have two that have filed lawsuits: Alicia Holland, Maria Walls. We have another who was fired. Well, she was told to quit or be fired and ruin her career, Ashley Jacobs. We have another in Lisa Lynch. It's not like this is a first thing. This is a issue. This is an issue. Who else is involved? Has anybody else had any cases against the former auditor or former county administrators or interim county administrators? As a side note, when Maria Walls came out about this, I was still on county council. Maria Walls, a couple of years ago, made some comments. I guess it was a couple of years ago. Maybe it was a year. I don't know. Maria Walls made some comments publicly that negative and were outright lying. That's right. I used a very harsh word, lying comments about me not doing anything. Hey, Mary Ellen, glad you're here. Like us, subscribe, and all that good stuff. These lying and negative comments about me not doing anything as a councilman when she was coming out with the lawsuit and the harassment, and it was topic du jour in Beaufort County. So Treasurer Walls, let me remind you, it was me who, after you and I had 3 meetings, we had 3 meetings about this. I went to the administration and I demanded that Jim Beckert, former auditor, his office, his personal office, be placed in another county building while this investigation was underway. She was upset and pissed off at Paul Somerville, and Stu Robin, who was chairman and vice chairman, because she went to them, so she tells me, and they did nothing, absolutely nothing, which does not surprise me. I totally believe that. As I explained to her, and I explained to others, county council can't do anything to another publicly elected official in reprimand. That he doesn't work for us. There's nothing I could do. I could come out and make a statement, but big deal. That you know, $1 gets you a stick of bubble gum now. But I went to the administration and I said, we need to move him out of here. You can't fire him. We can't castigate him. We can't, accuse him. But these lawsuits are underway. For comfort of the building and people inside the building, Mr. Administrator, it's my opinion that if we move him to another facility, this should subside as the legal process moves on. Just want to let that out there, Maria, Madam Treasurer, because the county council chairman, thank you, Kate, and vice chair ignored the entire thing, and that's even in her lawsuit, that they ignored it, and they did. But the administration then decided to move him to another facility until he was eventually replaced by the voters. Also, we've learned over the last couple of months or so that there are allegedly some problems, possibly, again, allegedly, in the EMS department with some nepotism, sexual harassment, and now discrimination. Does this have anything to do with Greenway or others? Am I surprised? I don't know. We'll look into it. That's not cool. Definitely not cool. And we can't have that. What I will tell you that is factual, and I hope that the county council is still watching this, and I hope the county attorney is watching this. Shit, I hope Will Folks is watching this. What I can tell you factually is that there are problems within the procurement department over the past 10 years. And again, I told you to write down, record what I said. Here's another one, county council. Listen to me. Over the past 10 years, there are problems in the procurement department in Beaufort County Government that have to do with this very, very same topic. Before Eric Greenway, I have seen with my own eyes and ears, heard millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money be awarded in bids completely against the county's procurement policy. Millions, many millions. The procurement policy was last reapproved in 2022, signed by Eric Greenway. I have a copy of it. Even though some folks' legal department somewhere is trying to cover their ass and saying that it hasn't been updated since the 1980s, allegedly, which is bullshit. I have a copy of it. I have seen millions, and this is where the bulk of it is, tens of millions of dollars in asphalt and other repaving jobs go to bidders when the procedures were not properly followed. It's easy to find. Easy to find. Go look at all the jobs. You get a job for $2 or $3 million. You get 2 bidders. That's a violation. Specifically at X dollar value, you have to go to 3 bidders. Goes to 3 bidders in a committee process and blah, 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 blah. I can remember the day sitting there. I looked Dave Thomas in the eye. We were ready to approve several $1 million of asphalt with 2 bidders. And I thought, we've got to have 3. Well, nobody else would bid this, he says. I'm like, come on. Nobody else would bid this? Then you got to put it out for bid. That's your job as a purchasing agent. And that's really all they are, is purchasing agents. That's your job. You go out and you find those people that will bid on this. Don't tell me, thank you, David, that there's nobody to bid the work. You have to go find them. No, they're not lining up at the door because they've gotten screwed. Okay? I was a contractor. I know how it works. They've gotten screwed. So I was outvoted, so to speak, in that bid award. It's documented, by the way. But I went back to a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, who owns a asphalt, paving, road building, land clearing, all that kind of stuff. Cool stuff. Dump trucks and big machines and dozers and all that kind of shit. And I said, hey, we had this job, the other day at council, several, $1 billion. We're going to repave, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't see you up there. What's going on? He said, what are you talking about? I said, what am I talking about? Road XYZ who's going to pave from here to there. Cost a lot. So-and-so and so-and-so bid on it, but nobody else. And you're here local. I thought you would have. I have no idea what you're talking about. I wasn't asked to bid on anything. But according to the procurement director, he only had 2. So that several $1 million bid was given out illegally. Period. Case closed. Period. When asking questions, get this, ladies and gentlemen, when asking questions of the procurement director on the dais at a county council meeting, I was accused of badgering him. Badgering the procurement director for spending your money illegally. Does that not bust you in the nuts? You have a job to do, people. Just do the job. I saw cleaning contracts. Here's another one for you. I saw my very first show, talk a little bit about this, my very first one. I saw cleaning contracts get approved when bidders weren't half-ass qualified. I probably, as an air conditioning former company, had more qualifications to clean than some that got the contracts. I saw it when disabled folks, the consumers as they're called from Beaufort County, I saw when disabled consumers in the DSN community were used. Here's another one for you. Write this down, County Council. DSN consumers were used as sub-wage labor. I saw it. I watched it. There was a lawsuit about it. Look into it. County administration paid a shit ton over that. Did they stop? Hell no. Like I said, we had a show about it. The very first show was about that. And the second one, I think. I had a phone call, I remember, from a mom on St. Helena one time. Her adult child was a DSN consumer. Used the DSN, disabilities and special needs. Used their day services. Okay? This DSN consumer had a day job, as did many of I don't know if it was a he or she, I don't remember, their colleagues, other consumers. It was on Fripp Island, at the resort, and they were folding towels. That was what they did, and they loved it. I remember the mother telling me, so-and-so, would get up with a smile on their face, a gleam in their eye, because they were going to go, and they only work like 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever, and they were going to fold towels, and they loved the hell out of it. Now, these, again, disability and special needs, that was their piece of the community. That was their living in society. And the whole group, 4 or 5, got fired. No one in the county followed any HR practices within already scheming practice of hiring labor and paying sub-level wages. That is part and parcel evident because of two, I think, HR directors ago that was fired because of stuff like this. Look it up. It's right there. Former HR director. Criminal. I'm telling you, it's criminal. This is the same department, the DSN, that, here's another one, County Council, they cannot account for monies and federally distributed funding, but no, they can't account for it from years back. I don't know about now, obviously I'm not there, but they couldn't account for it from December 2010 forward. When the county was going through the financial crunch of 2008, by 2010, they were damn near out of money. And money's got shifted around. Not going to go into why, but we know why. It ended up creating, and we've had a show that mentioned this, a commingling of funds. No one at the county administration level has had the balls to investigate the commingling of funds, which, by the way, if you don't know, and that's okay, that's a federal issue since it's taxpayer dollars and federal dollars. Yeah, it's all taxpayer dollars, but one comes out of your property taxes and the other goes to the federal government, which is funneled to the state government, which is Medicaid money that comes back to the county. Those dollars cannot mix. That is called commingling. You will look into DSN in Beaufort County, and we're the only county that does it this way in the state. You may find evidence of commingling of funds years back. Anyway, we're going to be carrying the Greenway, I started to say trial, the Greenway visit to County Council Monday at 11 a.m. right here. I'll try to carry it as a a live thing. I got to figure that out, but I'm sure we can. So tune in.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones.
All right,
Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock. And you're responsible.
That's right. Sorry about that. It is 20 minutes past the hour. Do you all remember the stories over the last several years where businesses were chided for deciding to not do business with certain people? Mostly transgender people, if I remember correctly, or gay, lesbian. I want to say in Kentucky, and I don't know where else, but you all follow me on that. Remember that? And I think it was a bakery. Matter of fact, I know it was. Bakery said, "I'm sorry, we don't believe in this on our, what you want." I think it was a cake with 2 males or 2 females or something like that. And they said, "I'm sorry, we don't believe in that. We're not going to be able to serve you." Customer got completely out of torque on it. And let me remind you, if a business does not want to do business with you, they don't have to, okay? Businesses can fire people. You don't, because you call, Joe to fix your lawnmower, Joe can say, I'm not interested. And that's okay. Okay. Anyway, as long as there are not federal, civil violations of a protected class, like in housing, You can't not sell a house to someone because, the color of their skin, or you can't not jobs. You can't not hire someone because they're a girl or a boy or whatever. You can't do. There are federal protections. A bakery who has a particular moral guiding, not wanting to make a trans cake or a gay cake or a lesbian cake or a furry cake or whatever, that's not a protected class. But you remember those in the LGBTQ world, the peace world, right? Right? They yelled out, "Bake the damn cake, you bigot." Remember that? That business was a bigot because they didn't want to bake a cake that had 2 men or 2 women or whatever. They don't want to do that. They're bigots. Well, now, the shoe's on the other foot. Recently in Charleston, and my good friend Corey Allen with the Overton Report reported on this first earlier today. And I told him earlier I was going to bring this on as well. In Charleston, it has become public that a dog grooming facility had a customer come in. Dog groomer went over to the customer, who was a male, picked up the dog for his apartment. The man made greetings. Then after the groomer said, "My name is Roxy." The man said, and this is on video. This isn't like, well, this is a story I heard. This is on video that is out there. The man says, "Are you a guy or a girl?" She replied, "A girl." The man said, "Give me my dog back. We don't do that shit." The groomer and obviously, and here and I'll show you a picture. The groomer is a man who dresses like a girl, and that's their thing. I'm not. That's their thing. Do what you want to do. But the man said, "Give me my dog back. We don't do that shit." He said, "I want somebody else." Again, his right. He's the customer. It's his right. And they said, "Well, you're not getting anybody else." And he said, "Well, they canceled my appointment." And he took the dog and walked out. So the groomer and the attendant, who is one of the owners, as I now understand it, got a little snippy, said a few things, and said, "Well, you're not welcome back here." And told the groomer, "Mark the account, flag it. He's not allowed back here." From there, the groomer and the attendant, or the shop owner, whatever you want to call him or call her, have tried to drag this guy, the customer, through the mud, posting things about his business. He owns a business, and imploring others not to do business with him. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute. The citizen has a right to choose who and where cuts his damn dog. But not to this facility. No. This facility, and by the way, its name is Washes and Wags Pet Grooming. Washes and Wags Pet Grooming in Somerville. This facility went on Facebook blasting this guy. Totally blasted this guy. And this is just like, for those of you here in the Beaufort area, Ladies Island, if you remember the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island and her miscreant imp several months ago tried to do the same very thing to a Ladies Island bakery and coffee shop, which totally backfired in a pile of shit in their face, and they got more business. More business. So yes, Mary Ellen, I bet his business will increase. So the dog grooming business, get this, then went on to dox this man and his own business. You see, the dog groomer is, yes, LGBTQ. I don't know if it's a transvestite, transgender, gender dysphoric, gender confused, or cross-dresser. I don't know, whatever. But a scientific male who wears boys' clothes or girls' clothes. The name is Roxy, also goes by Roxanne. Not only is he a trans female, I guess that's what you call males who dress like women and think they're women. I guess you call him a trans female. Not only is Roxanne, Robert, whatever, a trans female, he is also a furry. A furry. And it is a relationship with, yes, I bet, another furry. What are these furries? Some of you may be asking. I had to ask several years ago because I didn't know. These furries are individuals who are, I had to get a definition for this. Furries are individuals who are especially interested in anthropomorphic or cartoon animals like Bugs Bunny. They often strongly identify with anthropomorphic animals, and they create personas, identities of themselves as those anthropomorphic animals. You and I have persona. These weirdos have a fursona. Some go to extremes as sexual fantasizing about furries and sex. What in the hell? I know what. Wait, can we get just a clean old drag queen over here on aisle 5? Do you have to dress up like a dog and hump the fire hydrant? Gee whiz. Then you have a couple of, and this is, factually, this has been displayed. You have a couple of the, I said, hey, Tom, I did say furries. That's what they're called, furries. But get this, it gets better. There are a couple of teachers in the Beaufort County public school system that we have mentioned over the past year who not only think they are furries, they also have imaginable furry friends with them all day long, but they demanded the school system put a litter box in their classroom. Yes, you heard that right. They have a litter box in their classroom. Interesting thought, though, is that the dog groomer may be a groomer. Get it? I thought that was kind of, So, if a business doesn't want to do biz with you, you're a bigot, right? That's what they said. Bake the damn cake, you bigot. If a business doesn't want to do business with you, then to the LGBTQ, trans, furry, whatever world, you're a bigot. If you're a customer who doesn't want to do business with a business, then the business can come after you for not wanting to spend money there. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a it's a circus. Some would call it a circle jerk. I call it a circus. And the Ferris wheel never stops. The furries just keep going around because you're either a bigot because you won't do what they want, or you're, I guess, a bigot as well because you won't let them service you. So we're going to help. I think it's only proper that I help these folks at the dog groomers and so forth, give them some fame. They're obviously looking for it, so let's help them out, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I would show you. Let's do this. Let me show you. I would love to bring onto the screen. Let's see who this one is. This, I hope you all can see that, and that is not the one. That is not the one. So let's go back, and we'll try this one more time. Let's try it here. Bear with me. Want to go to window. Bada boom, bada bing. I should learn this thing better than I do. Here we go. So here is the owner of the facility, Christina in Fox Reeves. She owns the, we'll scroll down. She owns the facility. What is it called? What did I say? Wags and Washes, or Washes and Wags. That's it. Well, she also posted, here you see down here, Mag Designs. That is the guy who, the customer, MAAG Designs LLC. MAAG Designs LLC. Mark Mag is a craftsman who hand makes charcuterie boards. That's his job. And, you know, hey, I recommend that go see him, give him some business, make a charcuterie board. But that's the gal who owns the place. And let's see who else we have here. Well, here is Washes and Wags Pet Grooming. Washes and Wags Pet Grooming. There is their Facebook page. I'm sure that, you know, it'd be a good thing to go, hey, I don't know, possibly give them a review. Tell them what you think. You know, it looks like they do the dog thing here. So, you know, just thought I'd pass that out there for, you know, y'all to look at. Let's see who else we can come up with. Let's see. Let me see here. Bear with me. Let's go to, and I hope you can see this. I'm going to try. Gosh darn it. I want to show you the picture. And I don't know if I can. I want to show you the picture of, we'll try that. We'll try that here in a second. No, it won't let me. All right. So anyway, reach out to him. Reach out to him. See what's going on. I want to make sure that everybody can still hear me. If you can't, put something in the text box, but I just want to make sure everybody can still hear me. Anyway, MAAG Designs, that's Mark Mag. He doesn't deserve this. He doesn't deserve it. It's his wishes not to have his dog cut by this groomer, and they went totally ballistic and trying to ruin the guy. So let's help them. Washes and Wags is their name. Terrible. It's just terrible. Anyway, that's that. And if you want to see the, okay, thanks. If you want to see the video, I can get that downloaded and put it on my Facebook page of Beaufort County's House of Cards. Just let us know. It's, I mean, I really told you what it does. You can hear it for your own. But anyway, finally, it's 25 minutes before the top of the hour. We are in turn 4. Alert, alert, parents. You are going to want to hear this. You are going to want to hear this. A teacher in the California public school system, the teacher's name is Olivia Garrison. Olivia Garrison. She was caught recently bragging about her helping students. Well, what did she help them do, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked that. She is a 6th grade history teacher, and she's at Del Oro High School in Kern County. She's been doing some keeping parents at bay from children wanting to do social transitioning. Now, social transitioning is usually the first step in transgendering, adopting to new pronouns, adopting to new clothing, haircuts, things like that. That's social transitioning. Garrison claims she is a non-binary person and is proud of the fact she's been doing this behind the parents' backs, I assume for years, without their consent. Garrison, who I might add has a large set of balls to say this, was quoted, "My job, which is a public service, is to protect the kids. Sometimes they need protection from their own parents." Whoa. Whoa. Unpack that statement. Unpack that statement. My job, which is a public service, is to protect kids. First, your job is not a public service. You are a public servant. You work for the taxpayers. We got along fine before you. We can get along fine, even better after you. My job, which is a public service, is to protect kids. Sometimes they need protection from their own parents. Second, you're not there to protect them from their parents. Time out. Yes, if the kid comes to school with whelps on his legs or bruises on her neck, obviously, that goes without saying. You're not there to protect the kids from their parents. You're there to be teaching them the skills of learning necessary traits, reading, writing, arithmetic, etc., to advance to the next level with the end goal of being a self-sufficient citizen and taxpayer who can make a positive impact on society. Not fuck up society by implementing your own sexual desires and mystifications and phobias and all that on the children. Third, there is not a teacher on this earth, not one, and I know plenty that watch this show, both in favor of and against. There is not a teacher out there who has the right or the responsibility and the permission to say, quote, "It is my right to sometimes protect them from their parents," end quote. You're an idiot for saying that, Garrison, and you should be removed. Most of all, if not all of us have been saying this for the past, well, I don't know, years, teachers teach, parents parent. It's not the teacher's job to decide to parent and how to parent. Well, time out. Some say, well, the parents, they're not involved and somebody's got to parent the kids. It's not your decision. It's not your decision. Teachers teach, parents parent. Remember, and I hope, I really want to show this. Share screen. Oh, here. Can anybody tell me if you can see this picture on the screen? I put up a picture. I want to see if anybody sees it. If you would comment whether you see my face or you see this picture of a person. Anyone? Anyone? There's a bunch of you watching. Are you seeing me or a picture of an unknown individual? No pic yet, she says. Damn it. Daggone it. Daggone it. Let's try it. I'll get it right one of these days. How about now? Do you see me or something that you don't know what it is? Nope. All right. Well, that's not working. So anyway, let's cancel all that. I apologize. Do you remember the name Lane Cogdill? Lane Cogdill taught at Hilton Head Middle until a few years ago when the district was alerted by all of the transsexual posters, flags, signs, etc. in her classroom. It took me and others all of 2 letters and phone calls to get her moved to the district office out of the presence of children, away from children. Anyway, she's now a teacher in Maryland. She is coming out saying she has, and I quote, admittedly been intentionally concealing students' gender changes on TikTok from parents. She admits it. It's in writing. It's on the internet. It must be true. She's quoted, admittedly intentionally concealing students' gender changes on TikTok. How about this? There's a shitbag named Mandy Jung, from Minnesota. She is an anti-capitalist science teacher. Oh my God, this is a winner. She has recently admitted she uses surveys to allow students to conceal gender identity change. Or how about this one? Sky Tooley. Sky is I don't know what Sky is. I think it's a he, but I'm not sure. Anyway, he is an elementary school teacher in Los Angeles. Admittedly says, and is quoted and written about, he uses a gender fluid unicorn in his classrooms. This gender fluid unicorn, he uses it to teach pronouns and non-binary. He also has a llama unicorn. Possibly the worst example of this over-the-top bullcrap from these type of teachers, and all teachers, absolutely. I am not putting you in this bucket. This is I believe it's a small group. I really do. I really do. The worst example I could find is a teacher named, I guess it's Dr. Danita McCrae, a teacher in Sacramento, who recommends, and this is a quote, recommends using a gender unicorn beginning with toddlers. She has written that she calls preschool to the 3rd grade the focus. That is the focus. Preschool to the 3rd grade. That's the focus. This is some kind of George Orwell shit going on here. Or Marx. Karl Marx. Wow. The focus is when she believes that's the beginning of teaching transgenderism. I'm going to quote Dr. McCrae. I've done research. I have got my doctorate degree. Children are not too young at 5 years old. Children understand at as early as 3 years old. These teachers that I just mentioned, they're sick, twisted pedophiles in my book. In my book. This is sick. This is twisted. They have no business in public school. If you want to go teach at, the 5th Street Transgender School of the Arts, then hike out. Have at it. You're probably good. For public school with public tax dollars from you and me, this is not acceptable. If there are any of these near you, and there are, whether you are in Beaufort or Charleston, in Greenville County, we have someone from Anderson County, we have someone two people in North Carolina, one in Tennessee, and some other places on here. They're out the Carolinas. They are there. They're near you. You just don't know it. Go to your child's school. If you don't have a child there, go anyway. You're a taxpayer. You friggin' pay for it. Go look around. Have somebody walk with you. All you got to do is use your eyes. You can do this, It's okay. You will see it for yourself. Then you need to demand they be removed anywhere close to children. I'm not saying, fire them. I'm not saying that. And I did that with Lane Cogdell. I didn't want her fired, just removed from the presence of children. Find another job for her. I don't want anybody to go, hungry and walk the streets of Hilton Head Island looking for crumbs. No, just move her. This really pisses me off to no end. We will keep fighting for these children. All of the children. The white children, the black children, the Latino children, the Asian children. It doesn't matter. They're all children, and they are being abused. They're being abused by these type of teachers and librarians that we just talked about. And quite frankly, their minds, as I told the Beaufort County School Board, their minds are being prostituted for the most severe, perverse reasons man has ever seen. Did you ever think, Julianne, I can't disagree. Personally, I can't disagree. Did you ever think we would get to this in society where we would be spending our show talking about this shit? Teachers doing this to these children? Their minds are being prostituted for the most severe and perverse reasons man has seen. Period. Period. You know, if you don't believe it, I might do that, Mary Ellen. If you don't believe it, go and look for yourself. I implore you. Go, please take someone from the office. Don't do it secret. No, you don't have to do that. Walk the halls of the school just to look around as a taxpayer, just to see what is going on. I want to see where my money's going, and watch and look and listen. All right, don't forget to tune in Monday, the 11th at 11 a.m. We're going to be covering the Greenway hearing live right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards and the Big Patriot Radio Network. Don't forget to like us, hit subscribe, pay attention to the reels we've got coming out there. We're doing stars now. Good night, America.
world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.